What's going on, everybody? It is episode 390 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. Let's get this over with.
That's not a very nice thing to say.
I'm just kidding.
She's saying that because she's hopping on a red-eye flight after this to go and do Alex Stein, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be on Alex Stein at the Blaze. Prime time with Alex Stein, 99, etc.
Are you very excited?
I'm more nervous than I am excited, to be totally honest. But I think if my job is to look uncomfortable, then we're all good. That's going to be perfect, right?
What if he brings you on to help rate like various big booty Latina AOC lookalikes?
Lookalikes?
Well,
Are there AOC lookalikes?
I don't think he'll be able to get the actual AOC on the show. It's just my personal thought.
How many paid actors can he get on the show?
That's a very good question. I have no idea. Can he afford it? The Blaze has got money. They can afford some paid actors.
You know, we unironically should do the hot or not of right-wing influencers.
Oh yeah, dude, guys.
On primetime, because that's the one place you have plausible deniability that what you're saying is a joke.
What I want to do, I would like it would the show would grow like just to obscene levels, just exponentially, to just do a show that's extremely misogynistic, and I guess it would also be misandrist in a way because I don't even
think it's misogynistic.
Yeah.
You're just rating people.
It's just like we'd be blackballed from the industry, but everyone would love to watch it. Just judge the looks of right-wing influencers.
You're gonna get blackballed in the right-wing media industry.
Oh no!
Oh no!
What are we gonna do? I on IRL Friday, I got called far left and far right, so you know, it's like, what does it matter, anyways?
You're so canceled, Brett.
That's yeah. Right,
you know, there's a Hurricane Brett now.
One T.
With one T. Isn't that weird?
Who goes through all the trouble to name a hurricane and you don't even finish spelling it? What's the point?
To make you angry.
That's exactly what it did. And people were tagging me in it. I'm like, that's not me. That's
Is there a Hurricane Mary? Has there been one?
Yes, there has to have been a Hurricane Mary.
I don't know. Maybe that would be considered disrespectful to the Mother of God. But let's see.
So
who cares about disrespecting Brett, though?
That's just rude. It's just rude, guys. Well,
there's been a Maria. For sure.
There you go. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We are going to talk about the fact that The Flash has, in fact, run headlong into a burning box office failure because it made very, very little money on its opening weekend.
It ran into a failure?
Yes, it did. A box office failure.
Sprinted
into it. We're turning into the same people we complain about, the horrible mainstream media with their puns.
It's not trailblazing.
No, we are not. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about there. We're going to talk about the fact that an executive at Spotify is called Harry and Meghan grifters, which is hilarious. Like, this guy, like, there's so much anger.
How did we get the inside scoop here?
I have no idea. Oh, he gave an interview.
Is this like an intercepted call?
He gave an interview with someone. He was talking to someone about...
I think he was on his own podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he didn't even do an interview. He just wanted to rant about Harry and Meghan badly.
I love it. They're that awful that he just hates them and he needs to talk about it. I just I'm listening to this guy yell and all I can think about is just a dude snorting coke in an executive office.
Can we listen to it?
I don't we can. We'll
it's
check
in the article.
Yeah, we'll check it out when we get there. So we'll talk about that. We are also going to talk about the fact that the other box office failure from this weekend, Elemental, is getting roasted for having a bunch of... Yes.
Because there's a character made of fire.
Get it, guys? Because they have a historic first non-binary character for Disney Pixar, which at this point, it's at this point, it's always a first of something. Have you ever noticed that there's a first of something every time?
Yeah, well, I'm surprised they weren't mad that it's not a protagonist character; it's a side character.
Yep, got to make him the main character.
How do you even? No, I'm going to go off later.
Okay, we'll get into it. We're also going to talk about, speaking of non-binary, we're also going to talk about the fact that Jamil has opened her mouth yet again, and she has made a bunch of people mad, but I actually kind of agree with her in this article.
Jamil W?
Rare W, where Jamil says maybe they need to create a non-binary acting category for awards, because otherwise women will be just shut out of everything, she says. So she's like...
It's low-key true.
Translate that to sports, and then we'll get get into it like another day. But we're going to talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. But if you're ready, Mary, we will get right into it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this then. All right. First things first. I did put out a review over the weekend for the movie Extraction 2. Well, the movie turned out to be absolutely fantastic. And
when you said 21-minute action scene, I was like snoring already.
No, it's fantastic.
This doesn't seem like my type of movie.
It's not your type of movie, but it's a one-take action scene that goes for 21 minutes, and it's
one take is kind of a cool aspect.
If you like movies that do that type of storytelling, the one they do in this is fantastic. Like
I liked what was it called, 1917?
Yeah, that's very much in the vein of that. In this, what's great about it is it seemed like they put a brunt of their CGI budget into this portion of the movie, so it all flows together really well. But the point here is, ladies and gentlemen, that Extraction 3 has been greenlit, and Chris Hemsworth is starring in the film. You'll notice that Idris Elba's character in this movie it's very clearly put there to turn it into a franchise, because he becomes the mysterious government character who recruits him and his cohorts. So I'm very, very excited. Everyone should go and watch Extraction 2 this weekend. If you haven't seen 2, watch the first one first, then watch the sequel. It is one of the rare examples where the sequel is better than the original, by far, in my personal opinion. So that is something to check out. Also, guys, Squid Game is coming out here in America, and people are pissed, right?
People are mad because Netflix has announced that they're developing a reality TV show that's literally just Squid Game in real life. And it's late capitalism.
Late stage capitalism.
Late stage capitalism. I thought the whole point of Squid Game was to denounce the actions of the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, they said like somebody in the original one said something that's like about Donald Trump. I'm like, this has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Well, unless people are dying on the show, I'm not watching. Yeah. Unless it's actually Squid Game. Also,
the real annoying part here, thank you for that. Oh, guys, before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Thank you very much for that. Remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read them right then and there. If you want to get a very quick question into Mary before she goes on Alex Stein, you can do that. You can do that. Also, 4.56 million because there's 456 players.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but let's face it, that's before taxes, so it's actually a much smaller number.
Yeah.
Now, if they had advertised it as 4.56 million after taxes,
are they going to have
that'd been based.
A best male? Like they're going to have a male winner, female winner, and non-binary winner,
and a trans winner.
To split it equally between them.
Wouldn't that be funny, right? So people are mad at this because everything is late stage capitalism. And you're not allowed to have anything nice anymore. You're not allowed to have anything fun anymore. Everything has to be depressing.
Capitalism never disappoints.
Yep. Oh, did you see the one I shared on Friday? That I showed on Friday, where it's like the lamb getting eaten by a bunch of wolves, and it's like rent, landlords, bills, and it's like all the ways in which capitalism is just living. It's just living. It's literally just having to be responsible for yourself as an adult.
We live very comfortable lives.
Yep. We do. When you really think about it, like a lot of what's going on is kind of one of those things where it's like, yes, what was it that I pointed out earlier that I thought was weird? It's like we're living longer than we've ever lived, but we're more sickly than we've ever been. So we're just prolonging, because of the medical industrial complex, we're just prolonging our lives and being miserable for the last extra 5 to 10 years.
But I think with modern medicine, we've reached the kind of the ceiling of human lifespan, and that's when the transhumanism part comes in.
Hate that.
Yeah.
Hate it. Okay, what else we got here? Oh yeah, tell us about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, Netflix put out the first teaser for the live action series of Avatar: The Last Airbender. What's up?
And we do in the chat, guys, I put up a poll today. I said, will Netflix screw up Avatar: The Last Airbender live action? So far, 91% say yes, of course. Keep going.
I don't know if a lot of you guys in the chat have watched the original, because it's sort of like a generational difference. I don't know, like more so for millennials and Zoomers. But it's like this fun cartoon, and we remember that M. Night Shyamalan absolutely wrecked the story with his live action film adapted from it, and I don't expect anything better from Netflix.
No one does.
I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna try to watch it, but now it's just bogged down with all of this stuff about like racial inclusion and stuff like that. I don't think that the original show's creators are directly involved in it.
Yeah.
It's just people at Netflix.
Which sounds horrible.
Yeah. And apparently the guy who got cast as Sokka lied about being indigenous to get the role.
Uh-oh.
Which is, as you said, Brett, a tacit confession that it's easier to get roles if you fit a minority category.
Yep.
I don't know if the guy is white or like what his race is, but it really doesn't matter to me. I think the costumes look good. They need to make Zuko's scar bigger because it doesn't. I think they like downplayed his scar in the film too. Yeah.
It's funny because I remember. So I watched Punisher Warzone recently, and when you see the character's messed up face, when they did it for the Netflix series of it, they end up Ben Barnes. They end up giving him like the emotional scars. The character's supposed to be completely disfigured, and the Netflix version, probably because they couldn't afford it, gave him emotional scars. Exactly. They literally, in the end of season 1 of The Punisher, they have Frank Castle drag his face on broken glass, and then in season 2, the guy's just kind of, he's got a couple of scars.
Still handsome.
Still super handsome.
Yeah. So I didn't know this, but apparently there's like almost a decade of Avatar-related content on the way. So the first season of this show is going to come out this summer. Then the next one in summer 2025. Then they're coming up with an animated film of them as adults in 2025 that's unrelated. Then another Avatar animated series in 2025. Then another film about Zuko animated in 2026. Then a spin-off in 2026. Then the third season of the Netflix series comes out in 2027. I don't know if they'll cancel it by then, as Netflix is wont to do.
Yeah, and especially when you get into season 3.
Another animated film coming that year, and then another animated series coming that year. There's just like not that much life in a story at that point. And you've completely sapped it of all of its original appeal.
It really is one of those things where quantity has become the case du jour.
And why does everything animated have to be made into a live action version? I know that's popular in China, but like it sort of pits animation into this category that it's like inferior to live action when really it's superior. It can be better. Yeah. I think for the very reason that it's that medium, and I know like Seamus talked about this too, like exploit the medium that you're using to enhance the story.
I think part of it is because back in the day, this was like, it was the wet dream of everyone was to see their favorite favorite animated whatever, whether it was DC Comics, whether it was Marvel Comics, whether it was anime. Like, everyone wanted to see the because
just rewatch the thing you like.
Perceived legitimacy, I think, in a lot of ways.
I just don't think that something should be like perceived as illegitimate just because it's animated or because it was popular with kids. And you don't have to make everything that was for kids into something for adults.
Yeah.
As well.
But also maybe they see it as something like if kids grew up with it, then it naturally transitions into being for adults because the age group of the people watching have grown up with the property and now would be perfectly packaged for the live action version because they're now in an age where they might want to watch a live action of something rather than cartoon, not realizing that anime and cartoons are now every bit as popular, if not more so, especially overseas than, look at manga and look at anime. They're far more popular than anything that we're doing live action these days.
Just why Netflix of all the platforms to do this on when we know that they cancel things after 1 or 2 seasons, and this is like one of the longest series that you could pick from. Also, like they're just cannibalizing the story until it is not going to mean anything anymore.
It won't be special anymore.
Legend of Korra also, like, first couple seasons they were okay, but it was never necessary to continue it. I also found this snippet from an interview of M. Night Shyamalan about his movie where he admitted that he didn't read any of the negative reviews. They said, "Have you read the reviews of The Last Airbender?" And he said, "No, I haven't." "Well, are you aware of the reviews?" "No, actually."
He's lying about that. I believe that he didn't read them. I don't believe that he doesn't know about them.
They said, "Well, for the most part, critics have not been kind. Are you just ignoring them? Will you read them this weekend? Have you just not had time?" And he said, "Are you saying that in general they didn't dig it?" genuine question.
He pays somebody
Are you just
to
being
tell him.
obtuse at that point?
Yeah.
I really don't like.
Yeah, but they're giving him they're giving him a lame question that they know is bait, right?
Well, no, like respond to the way that people have received your work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like this conceit that you don't have to respond to criticism if you've made something, especially based on an original that was well loved.
Yeah.
If people don't like what you've done with something that they liked, like Lord of the Rings, then respond to it and like try to repair.
Yeah, but this is an old. See, back in the day,
accordingly.
Back in the day, he didn't have the it's because I'm a minority thing to complain about and say you're just being racist.
I mean, he's notoriously a hit or miss director.
Yeah. Yep.
And this was an obvious like fail on his part. So I just don't expect anything good from this series.
And I am with Ronan and Leif in the chat who are saying DC animated movies are always better than DC live action movies. You are 110% sans some of the stuff that came after 2019. I would say that some of that stuff after 2019, like whatever that awful Green Lantern movie was, most of them are pretty much better than any of the live actions. That is for sure.
I also saw this Andrew Tate meme.
Oh, yes, guys.
How old were you when you realized the kid who played Avatar: The Last Airbender live action is Andrew Tate?
It's basically the same thing.
That's like the worst picture of Andrew Tate in existence.
Like he literally just finished saying brokey right there. Bugatti.
They at least fixed the tattoo in the new series to be like blue again instead of just like an afterthought. But I don't know, the kid looks too serious. He's supposed to be this whimsical 12-year-old with like dreams and like naivete.
And they're just like, no.
And he just looks like so serious. That was the biggest failure of the movie. Is that he acted like an adult the whole time. All of them did. Even Sokka. Like Sokka had no humor.
That is one of the worst parts of like I don't know what's worse. Movies with kids who act overly precocious.
It wasn't even that he acted precocious. He just acted like a warrior the entire time. When in the series, he was supposed to, like, you know, slowly realize who he was supposed to be and what he was supposed to do for the world. And, like, started out thinking, like, nothing had changed.
It is weird to see. I used to like it when kids would act more like adults. I found it endearing back in the day, but you can only do that for so long before that trope of like, oh, look at that kid. He's behaving like an adult. Like that worked a while back in the day. Now it's like, how do you get a kid to actually act like a kid? Because it really is a hit or miss thing when you hire child actors. You don't know what you're going to get 90% of the time. So,
yeah.
I don't know. So we'll have to see how that one turns out. I agree with you on the costumes, though. The costumes look good.
Then some people complain about those. They're like, they don't look lived in. It's just,
that's actually that's a fair criticism that people say about certain things where it's like it looks too new. Like at
least they tried.
Also what you're not seeing there is that once it's color graded in the shots, like you're looking at the brightest shot you have of it, when it's color graded down to look like what it's going to look like in the show, it'll look very different. I remember people had strong critiques of the costumes on The Witcher when the first stills for The Witcher came out. They said they thought they looked really, really cheap in that one. But also, like, they're right. Like, your clothes should look lived in depending on the situation. So not always easy.
But it's just like they didn't look lived in the animated series, and you can't animate somebody controlling wind. Yeah. Like they did everything wrong that you could possibly do in the movie. So it's a low bar. My expectations are extremely low.
It's a low bar. That's fine.
And yet I will still be disappointed.
Well, it's Netflix. Of course you'll be disappointed. Yeah. All right. Also, guys, did you know there's a Jake Paul movie coming out?
Yeah, Netflix is also making a documentary or some kind of docuseries about Jake Paul. He posted this promo for it and said, "My life has been on display since I was 16, but my story has never been told. #untold Netflix."
Ever since I looked at that dead person in the woods. Wait, that was Logan.
Why
right?
is he naked in the promo? Can we not?
I didn't even notice that.
Can we not do this?
I didn't even notice that. Holy crap, you're right. Why is he naked in the promo?
It's weird. I didn't notice it at first either.
I thought he just had shorts on.
Shane Dawson already made like a 10-part docu-series on Jake Paul, and no one was interested. So Or at least they were interested at the time, but then later realized there was no substance to it. Like, he's just a kind of a dumb YouTuber.
Be funnier if they gave him a smaller glove for the one covering his privates.
Yeah, were these like fake gloves that were like for the prop for the photo shoot?
Unknown says PCC needs to get a Netflix deal. Seems like they'll let anyone on. Let's go.
Someone said it's called Untold because nobody wants to hear about it.
Exactly. They're right.
Also, my life has been on display. Bro, you did that to yourself.
So you did the display.
That's why YouTubers are so like demystified. Like, you already have told us everything and we're not interested.
It would have to be more about, like, the only way to do that would be stories about how they misled people with their YouTubes. Like, here's how I made it look like I was sharing everything, but I actually
you wouldn't
wasn't.
get Jake Paul's approval to do that.
Nope, no, you wouldn't. So, I don't know. I don't really. I find Logan to be the more interesting one, but that's just.
Why don't they do one on both of them then?
Maybe they want to do the type of thing where it's like they're trying to separate themselves from one another now because they're building their own brands.
It's weird because they're not even twins.
Yeah, but they're still like, they got famous somewhat together, right?
Jake Paul has that little brother underdog complex going on.
Well, you know, Logan is very successful too, so they got a lot to do. All right, let's talk about Disney. We've got several Disney stories here today. This one is about an animated series called Primos. No, it's a movie called Primos, right?
I think it was actually for a series.
Okay, so I was right the first time. So
a Disney Plus
it's
series.
a Walt Disney animated series called Primos, and it's facing what this article refers to as a racist backlash.
Not a backlash from racists necessarily, but from people who say they used unfair racial stereotypes against Mexicans, I believe.
Yes.
She's like... Okay, it's centered around this girl, and she's 11 years old, and her 12 cousins move into her house for the summer, and they're saying, like, this is a stereotype of immigrants, that they all, like, live together, and you also, like, color graded her neighborhood yellow and orange, which
you can't do that unless you're actually in Mexico.
Well, I guess maybe they are in Mexico. I don't know anything about the show, but, like, you said before, this denotes a hot climate. Obviously,
when normal people see a sky or a setting color graded yellow or orange, that is a visual cue for your brain to say, "Look at this, I'm looking at a hot climate." When racist weirdos see a yellow tinted screen, they think, "Look at this, they're being racist towards people who live in South America or Mexico."
They were also going after the artist behind this show because her name is Natasha Klein, which sounds like she could be a white person, but she actually is Mexican, and said that she based this story off of her childhood.
That's like, I've been on a rabbit hole lately of this girl. She's a redhead who her dad's white and her mom's Latina.
Okay.
And she makes all these videos about growing up in a Mexican speaking household.
But didn't get the last name.
But she, like, I don't even know what her name is. But she's got, I mean, her dad's white, so presumably they go by the dad's last name, right? And she does all these videos about, like, telling my Spanish speaking mom that her dipping sauce is not hot enough. And, like,
oh, I think I saw that.
And I was like, I watched, like, all her shorts, like, the other day, and it's like, and there's inevitably in the comments section of a lot of those videos, people who don't get it, who don't understand that this is her gimmick, this is her niche, and they're calling her like, "Why are you appropriating the culture?" She's not appropriating any culture. It is her culture.
Just her culture, yeah. Also, there were people saying that there's a grammatical error in the Spanish that they used in the theme song. Oy vey, like, that must be so hard for you. The primary language of the show is English. It doesn't actually matter. And then the voice actor made a TikTok, or no, she went on her Instagram story and responded to this criticism. Shall we play that?
This one right here?
Yeah, she basically said that this is the colonizers' language anyway, so why should we use it correctly?
Well, for their new show, Primos, and people
no, this is in the tweet from.
I have the tweet here. Hold on. There it is.
Yeah.
This one right here.
The Spanish language is not a Latin American language. It's a language the Spanish conquistadors forced upon Latin American people. The only reason we're Latin people and not Native American people is because of that distinction. So be mad at me all you want for misspelling words in Spanish. Be mad at me all you want
They have
for
no
mispronouncing
humility.
words in Spanish. That doesn't take away from the fact that I am a Mexican-American, Native American woman.
The moral superiority oozes from every word she's speaking.
Yeah.
It's
reminding me of Meghan Markle's
It's insufferable.
voice.
It's insufferable.
Yeah.
Like,
they were saying
we're trying to make a good show for kids. For kids that feel left out, for kids that are different, for kids who don't have a full grasp on any language,
Wait,
no
hold
matter
on.
where they live.
Where are the shows for kids who do fit in and who aren't confused about anything? 99% of kids?
Kids, in general.
Where are the shows for
If
those
you're gonna
kids?
be mad at that.
Like, that is the most insufferably superior looking person I've seen in a very long time.
That smug smile.
That is the smuggest I've seen someone look in a very long time.
It reminds me of Meghan Markle. They compared Meghan Markle's podcast to being stuck in the relaxation room of a spa with the most self-involved yoga instructor.
That's amazing.
Or like a very like quirky, self-important yoga instructor. That's what you sound like.
Like, I see, like,
But then Disney pulled all of the promo for this show.
They didn't even stick by it.
Didn't stick by it. Totally caved to the mob, which is hilarious to me. I don't know if they're still going to put this out. I mean, they kind of have to, right?
And it's the thing that sticks out to me when I watch stuff like this is, like, we live in a culture now where you could tell your unique life experience as a story in one of these movies, and it'll get called stereotypical. Well, what if you actually lived a fairly stereotypical life?
There
it just
were
happens to be
comments
interesting.
here that were like, I lived with like 42 of my cousins.
I was actually just looking like Kate McKinnon, one of the OAN reporters, retweeted something earlier. It was like getting kicked out of the house at 18 is a psyop designed to destroy generational wealth. And it's kind of, in a lot of ways, I wonder if that's not far from the truth, right? Like, it is a very uniquely American thing to just kick people out at 18.
Other cultures consider it the norm to live in multi-generational households, and you will stay in your family household until you're married at the very least.
Yeah. When I was in Spain, what they were telling me, we were in Madrid and we were in Asturias, and they were saying, like, a lot of the people in this place we were visiting, their families owned shops, right, on this strip of island. And so everyone there, the kids would work for their parents and they would live at home until they were like 26 or 27. They partied every night. They had a lot of fun. But when they got married and they settled down, that was it. And then they took over the business. If they moved out, they moved out then with a wife, and they had families, and they just weren't expected to stay home or to leave right when they turned 18.
Yeah, because we consider that the norm because we're very atomized in our culture, and families, it's like the norm for families to either be torn apart by divorce or be torn apart by, people having to move across the country to get jobs now.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's an unfair stereotype. I think that's just
also
representing a culture that's different from ours accurately.
It also speaks to everyone's view of something is colored by their own experience and their own biases, right? So if somebody sees this and what they see something is stereotypical and bad, it tells us more about how they feel about things than how the actual creator of the art felt about it. So if somebody sees stereotypes and they see yellow sky as bad, they're seeing that. That's a weird form of pareidolia. They're seeing something that's not there.
I don't really care what people's reasons are for attacking Disney. I think we can all unite
around hating for Disney.
Hating Disney.
Well, we got a $20 super chat there from I can't see
Iso?
it. Yeah.
I don't know what that says, but it's in Korean. PCC, did you see that AI generated Peter Griffin got banned on Twitch for making a detailed bomb threat on DC? LOL. Just LOL.
I saw that it got banned.
I didn't know that was the reason.
Yeah, I thought somebody said that it was just cringe and it got banned.
Whoa, holy smokes.
Yep, not good.
Why is that where AI goes?
Because it's evil and it's going to enslave us all. My favorite are all the memes. It says like,
who knew Peter Griffin was going to lead the singularity?
My favorite is like all the memes. It's like John Connor looking at you make friends with the AI like it's not going to try and take over the world, and it's John Connor from Terminator 2. Look, anyone that pushes back on Disney, you've got my approval.
Got my vote.
This is Disney's fault for courting an audience of people that constantly get mad about stuff that is within their own camp.
Then they obeyed them.
Yeah.
So
and once you obey the first time, you have to obey every time, lest they tell you, well, you listened to this group and pulled it, but you didn't listen to this group and you didn't pull that. Why is that?
So I don't like the people moralizing on the internet, but I also don't like this woman moralizing against them back.
This lady is annoying. I specifically waited to watch that video. And
fair point. Spanish is the colonizer language, so.
But she's looking like this.
But her
pursing
voice
her lips
and her
like
face
this
kind of ruined it for me.
And being morally superior like this, very, very annoying.
The sort of like sing-songy lullaby tone of her voice is what
Goo Goo
gets me the
Gaga.
most.
That's what it's. Goo Goo Gaga baby shit. And it's very annoying.
So if you want to be mad at me, then be mad.
It's very like it's like somebody like controlling their anger. Like she really wants to yell at you really loudly and call you slurs.
She's working
and
against those Latina stereotypes of being loud and angry.
She's trying very, very hard.
She's not going to hit them with the chancla.
Look, and it's just like, but also that people kind of showed their own problems when they say like, oh, she's not Mexican because her last name's Klein, not realizing that plenty of people grow up in blended families that do not include just one race, that we have a multicultural society now, and there's plenty of mixed race couples who grow up in families with American sounding last names.
We've had a multicultural society since they got colonized. So welcome to reality, basically.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The odd thing about it is that in the show, they would want her named. If Natasha Klein was the character, right? This is the creator of the show's Natasha Klein. What they would want is the character to be named Natasha Klein, because if you called her Natasha and gave her a traditional last name, they would call that a stereotype.
Right.
They call everything a stereotype because everyone has to be subversive now. You're not allowed to actually just be. You have to be somehow pushing back against some non-existent foe and agenda.
Remember that Sombrero street interview video where he like goes up to college students and is like, are you offended by me wearing this sombrero? And they all like on the college campus,
they're like, yes, that is extremely offensive.
Yeah, that's really an offensive stereotype. And then he goes up to actual Mexicans and they're like,
no, that's awesome.
I love your outfit. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for the nod.
And it's the same as the girl who wore the kimono or the traditionally Japanese gown, right?
That shit was crazy.
And everyone got mad at her, and then people from actually from Japan were like, "Wow, that is beautiful. Thank you for displaying our culture."
We've got one from Wyatt Derp. He said, "Birds pushing their young from the nest and bears chasing off their adult cubs is a psyop designed to destroy generational wealth, or it's just nature. Get over it, Zoomers. Stop whining and accept the gravy train has to end." I mean, there are multiple dimensions to this. I think like
I don't know
when you're looking at the benefits in other cultures that have more intact family structures, and they happen to be living in close quarters or in close communities with each other multi-generationally, you see the benefits firsthand.
Also, they're moving out at 18 to go to college, but then they get stuck back at home after they get out of college
because they're impoverished.
And they can't find a job. But then they're stuck with a feeling of failure. Like they didn't manage to accomplish something.
I don't think that we've unlocked the key to success here in the U.S. Personally.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, come on, let's go ahead and get to what would you like to watch? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's go cute first, then cringe.
All right, let's do this. So for cute of the day, I have several submissions here. High Voltage 75 says #PCC Pets. At Brett Dasovic, I'm new to Twittering, so I hope I did this right. This is Babylon, an ex-roommate's cat that ended up bonding with me. Even though he had a penchant for throwing up his food everywhere and scratching up my mattress, he was still my little buddy. Everyone always has to preface with some type of negative trait that they find adorable.
Not all cats are menaces.
I'll tell you, Bucko is needy this weekend.
Aww.
Bucko was extremely needy this weekend.
That's sweet.
That is adorable.
Babylon is not asking you to be a cat person.
No.
He's demanding it.
All right. This is, oh, yes. Serenco Productions says, third time's a charm. I wasn't able to watch PCC live last week because I was on a work trip, but I was able to see Luna for a bit while I was back in my home state. Here's some pics for then and some I found while making my 100 sub special. That is adorable.
Cute.
Oh.
Is that a Samoyed?
It's adorable. I think so.
I like that breed.
Adorable. Looks very hungry.
Yeah.
All right. We've got two separate cringes of the day.
We do.
All right. I think we'll watch BB Rexa first.
Okay.
This poor lady. BB Rexa got just brained by a cell phone at a show over the weekend.
She had to get stitches after this.
Watch this, guys. Whatever you're doing, guys, don't throw your cell phones at the performers. It's not nice.
We don't know all sides of the story yet.
I mean, it's cool if the
been an
person's like
accident.
dancing, the phone just happened to hit it was just a direct hit. Here we go. Oh, music.
I don't think it's
Ow,
audible.
God. Did it get her in the mouth or did it get her
It was
in
on
the...
her eye.
Oof.
Yeah, she got a black eye from it.
Dude, that was brutal, dude. Why would you do... Assuming it was actually thrown.
Wait, play it again. I didn't see it. And that looks like a heavy Android.
Yeah,
too.
like that was
right on the corner.
That was not an iPhone SE. That was a full-sized phone.
No.
Right there. Like, ow, man. That's not good. Don't do that. That's not nice. I don't care if you like the person or not. Like,
they're flipping the script on Bad Bunny right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bad Bunny would have picked it up and thrown it back.
Yeah.
So not good, guys.
He would have stage dived right into that person.
It was. I don't think it was an accident. It was like a direct hit.
Why would you, as a fan of
it's
an
funnier
artist,
if they brought a second.
them?
If they brought a second phone just to throw it at them.
I don't get fan culture, stan culture.
Okay, I'll come up with my own fanfic as to why this happened. So
also, who's going to BB Rexa concerts?
That's a very good question.
In 2023.
No idea.
This is a thing.
Here's my fanfic of how this happened. It was the year. When was BB Rexa popular? 2018.
While ago, yeah.
Okay, it's 2018. BB Rexa was leaving a concert and going to her hotel, and a fan handed out a phone and asked her to sign the back of the phone, and BB Rexa just flung her nose up in the air and walked past and didn't sign it. And from that day forward,
that guy.
That fan was like, no, I'm going to get you one day. So they got a new phone, but they saved that one so they could one day throw it at her.
What is the thought process? Like, this is the one way you're going to get your idol to notice you is by injuring them? Yep. What was the thought process? I need to know.
Who throws a shoe, honestly? What if she said that? She's like, who throws a phone, honestly?
I was thinking of rewatching Zoolander over the weekend. I watched Zombieland. Over the weekend.
Yeah, Zombieland's great. Yeah.
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was all that funny. I didn't really laugh much, but I liked the Amber Heard cameo where she comes into his apartment, falls asleep, wakes up as a zombie, and starts brutally attacking him. I was like, POV, you're Johnny Depp. She did a good job.
I haven't watched the sequel.
It's believable.
I haven't seen the sequel, so I've only seen the first one.
I haven't seen the sequel.
Yeah. So, all right, we've got one more cringe of the day. Here we go. Let's just watch this one from the start. It says, woman gets mad at her boyfriend for not paying for 18 of her friends' meals on her birthday dinner. That's crazy.
You really just should have paid for all of our food.
For one, I'm not paying for everybody's food. It's your birthday, cool, but I'm not doing that. It's 18.
Why do you gotta pay for all y'all food, though?
You brought 18 friends. I'm finna leave you. You staying here with them or you coming with me?
Who does that?
Who invites 18 of their friends to a birthday dinner? I know those aren't all of your real friends.
It kind of reminds me. Have you ever seen that video of the guy who goes to he swipes right, he meets some girl and they go to dinner and she brings a friend. And he leaves them there.
Weird. Yeah.
Like he should have.
That's really weird.
Like he should have. Mm-hmm. Screw that lady. But yeah.
This is the gravy train that needs to end.
Yeah, dude. Oh, people in the chat were saying maybe Bad Bunny was in the concert and it was actually just him throwing somebody else's phone at BB Rexa.
Joker moment.
Look, that's just like imagine like that guy being there and being expected to pay for 18 meals. That's insane.
Maybe she wasn't serious. Maybe it's just a joke.
She sounded pretty serious.
I get him buying her dinner.
Yeah,
it's her birthday. It's not 18 people's birthday.
He's like, hey, I gave you free dinner. Like you can pay for your friends. I paid for you. All right, ugly. Guys. Shall we get started then with The Flash?
Let's go.
Okay. All right, guys. So if you didn't know, The Flash came out over the weekend. We went and saw it. We reviewed it. We gave it a fair score, I would like to think. But The Flash, it's not doing too well at the box office. Only $55 million over the 3-day weekend. So it did not do the big blockbuster numbers they were hoping it would do. It made $64 million over the 4-day weekend because today is a holiday. Mm-hmm. So technically the weekend's not over yet.
I think putting it out next to Spider-Verse was not a good decision.
But it wasn't even next to it. It's 2 weeks later.
I tried to get
didn't
seats
even beat
at Across the Spider-Verse this weekend, and it was packed.
Spider-Verse didn't even beat Transformers in the second week. Like, Transformers won the second week of the Spider-Verse. I thought the Spider-Verse was going to win again. Like, it was going to be number one 2 weekends in a row, but it wasn't. So,
it has really good word of mouth, though, and it was packed this weekend for me.
What I found funny is, like, they go through every explanation. Oh, we got a $20 one right there.
Justin G said the birthday girl clip proves hoflation is real. Men must work twice as hard for women of half the quality in 2023. Thank the Lord I am married. I can't imagine being single in this generation. Yeah. Hoflation is real.
The struggle is real, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, every day. Every day. Look, for The Flash, this is one of those things, right? They blame everything but the actual reasons for why this movie failed. Like, they're like, well, it's because Ezra Miller couldn't do interviews. I don't think him doing interviews, I don't think it would have mattered.
Maybe made it worse.
I don't think it would have mattered. They spent big on trailers for this movie. They also say it was male heavy compared to Wonder Woman and Aquaman as to reasons why this movie didn't do well. They also blame, which I thought was really funny, they call it a deeper universe character. I'm like, basically saying it's not Batman, it's not Superman, it's not Wonder Woman, therefore it's a deeper universe character. I'm like, it had 9 seasons of a TV show. The same actor as The Flash appeared in Batman vs. Superman, both cuts, Justice League, both cuts. He showed up on Peacemaker. Like, you're not going to get me to buy that this has anything to do with the character not being well known enough. It's just...
And also has the draw of every cameo you could possibly imagine.
It's really just that DC is just, it's on a losing track record right now. It hasn't had a win in a long time. Black Adam didn't do well. This movie didn't do well. They're resetting the universe, so we don't have the benefit of actually having these characters connect to something later. Like, there's a lot of feeling that everything is up in the air, right? Like, why would I go see this when everything's going to be reset next anyways once James Gunn
you said they're going to
over.
bring Ezra Miller back.
I believe so, but whether that means he gets a movie, I don't think so. I think he'll appear in other productions. Mm-hmm. I think they'll keep him around for that, right? Sketch Therapy's right. He's been in multiple TV shows because there was the John Wesley Shipp TV show back in the 90s.
Is the SAG strike actually happening now?
All they've done is they've authorized the ability for the strike to happen.
Okay.
So it has not started yet. They have not voted on it yet, but they voted on whether they would approve it if it got voted on.
Has a SAG-AFTRA strike ever happened before?
I'm sure it has. I don't know the history of that.
Because actors are so much more desperate than writers.
Think so? They'll just work whatever.
Yeah, they'll take anything.
Yep. So look, $55 million. It made $130 total because it made $75 million overseas. Look, they just don't mention the bad track record that DC is on right now. Like, all the stuff that they talk about here, they talk about how late night shows have gone dark because of the writer's strike, therefore they couldn't promote the movie. I'm like, is anybody going to see a movie?
Was Ezra Miller going to be invited on those late night shows?
Well, no, they would have had Michael Keaton.
Exactly.
They would have Michael Keaton go do that. So look, they said I
want Ezra Miller to go on SNL. That would be hilarious.
What would an Ezra Miller SNL skit look like?
I need him to do a skit with the non-binary cast member of SNL.
They could do it together.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. It'd be them screwing up their pronouns the whole time.
Exactly.
So it says, to get the word out, Warner Brothers spent big on trailers. iSpot, which monitors what studios shell out on TV spots. Again, this is just one facet of the movie's overall marketing campaign. Shows Warner Brothers shelling out $31.3 million on spots for the movie, which pulled in 1.7 billion impressions. That is more in iSpot metrics than what Disney spent on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Elemental, as well as things like Transformers Rise of the Beast. So what do, right? Like, you just admit that you didn't have it, that it was never going to work because the movie's been in production too long. It's become this weird black eye on the company. They didn't know what to do with it. The CGI was bad. Even the cameos, which were the whole point of the movie, got heavily critiqued because of their use of certain actors.
The Flash is very male heavy and not pulling in as many women as Aquaman and Wonder Woman, which is slowing it down. Were women really coming in droves to see Aquaman and
They
Wonder
were,
Woman?
but I mean, they all that means is that the demographics went closer to 50-50. It's not like they outnumbered the men.
Yeah.
The Flash, they said it did best in the South Central and West. Warner Brothers has IMAX on the film and together, and they point out that 42% of the picture's gross comes from IMAX. Like, look, I can't with this stuff. It's like the movie was bad. You
want to see that bad CGI in IMAX?
In IMAX? Why would you want to do that?
That's some
right?
nightmare fuel. The Nicolas Cage CGI was the worst.
Yep. Yeah, Kino Corner points like, look, this movie was in development for over a decade. Like, John Francis Daley wrote this script back in like 2013 or something like that. 2013 or 2014, and they've been trying to get the movie off the ground for longer than that. They literally went through multiple iterations of the other characters. No Henry Cavill. They could have won a lot of goodwill by having Henry Cavill make a cameo in this.
Yeah,
no Henry Cavill.
Which Superman did they cameo?
They used Christopher Reeves.
Right.
And they used Nicolas Cage, and then of course we get various Batmans as well. Yeah. But it was never going to do the numbers they wanted it to do for something that cost that much money. And they're saying B+ cinema score, and then you get the buzz at the beginning of this whole production line where they're saying it's the greatest superhero movie ever made, which anybody with half a brain hears something like that and they're like, well, that's PR. Like, nobody buys it when somebody actually says something like that.
They're also praising Elemental in comparison.
Yeah.
For diversity points, basically.
Did you think this movie was going to do better? Did it end up about where you thought it was going to end up?
I mean, I'm not the judge. I was never excited to see it anyway. I'm not the target audience.
It ended up lower than I expected. Like, I figured it would end up at 65 to 75 million.
We're way too plugged into all of the information about it. I think most people aren't paying that close attention.
Yeah.
And if they're not excited to see it, it's not on their radar.
But they bought a Super Bowl spot for this movie. Those are like the most expensive spots you can buy in media. Yeah. Like, if you can't
get
people...
They're astroturfing it.
Yeah. It was never going to work. And I think this is a fair comparison because I actually thought the movie was fine. I didn't think it was horrible. I thought it was just an average superhero movie that could have been leagues better if they had actually had the right actor and gotten it done in a reasonable time.
I rarely don't hate a superhero movie, so I was surprised that I thought it was like slightly above average at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't expecting much.
Do you think that this is going to end up hurting things? Like, is this a sign of things to come, considering Aquaman 2 still has to come out this year? Like, we have to go and see that. But
I'm excited to see Amber Heard.
That movie is going to go through the same thing, is going to go through the same problems. Why am I going to watch this when none of these characters will matter in the next year?
Well, they're kind of like, let's just shit these out and get it over with.
Yeah.
And talk about it as little as possible.
Yeah. Well, that's what they should have done. Like, people were saying they should have just dumped this on HBO Max. Or sorry.
It's not an option.
Max. They should have just dumped it on Max.
That's not an option for many reasons, obviously.
Yeah. You can't do that. And
there were also people calling for it to not come out at all, just for ethical reasons, which
was never going to happen. Like, it was always going
delusional.
to come out. It was always going to come out, right? So imagine they go on SAG. Imagine SAG after it goes on strike, then nobody on the film can do any promotion at all. So they're using that as like a cautionary tale, basically saying like, hey, studios, give us what we want, or we're going to go on strike and none of your movies will get to be promoted.
SAG isn't going to strike.
You don't think so?
No.
Kino Corner, what do you think? Will SAG go on strike? I asked him. I saw him in the chat.
Once again, actors are going to take porn roles before they strike for anything.
We'll have to wait and see. I expected this movie to do a little better. I really did. I didn't think, when I said it wasn't a great movie, it was fine, but I didn't expect it to do $55 million. I thought it would do at least $65 to $75 million. But, maybe I'm overestimating it too, because I'm always kind of defending The Flash as more relevant than a lot of people say he is, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Either way, guys, we will end up seeing what goes on with this. If you guys didn't go see it, I would recommend probably waiting for HBO Max, just because the bad special effects will look less bad on a smaller TV.
You're not going to want to see that
No.
in IMAX. And you're also not going to want to see it sober. So...
Nerd, they're saying, SAG, Kino Corner says he hopes that they strike. SAG plus WGA strike would be based.
Why would that be based?
Why would that be based, Kino Corner? We're going to have to know. And then other people
Shut it down.
Shut it down. Well, shut down the industry. Maybe Zaslav should have just canceled this movie. I don't know. But I don't think you can do that with a movie that costs as much money as this one did. And with the amount of ads that I saw on this movie, I wouldn't be surprised if the budget for ads was as much as the film. So we're not talking about the 1.5, budget time, or like budget times 1.5. I'm thinking this is 1.5 times 2, budget times 2 seems like that's what this would have actually cost to make, given how much promotion I saw for this movie and how suspiciously little I saw of Ezra Miller. Because they were afraid of coming up to him and being like, Ezra, are you a left-handed choke slammer or a right-handed choke slammer when you're beating up women? Or what if they had like, Ezra, we've heard that you choke slam women with your right hand but throw chairs with your left hand. That's pretty quirky.
Hypothetically could have coached him, like they could have media trained him with some scripted responses for those types of questions.
Yeah, but they can't prevent them from continually asking them, and then eventually it gets to be too much. And then what they want is the exasperated answer, the one that slips out after. It's like, because they do like 10 of those appearances a day, right? When you go through these media scrums, they go from one interview to the next interview. They don't care about the first one. They know you're going to be composed for the first one, but once you get to
they'll wear you down.
Once you get to booth 9, and somebody's like, "So tell me about it. Is it just women from Iceland that you like choke slamming, or is it just women in general?" And then he loses it, and then, or it'd be even funnier if they had only have male interviewers for him because they're afraid of him having he's sitting in a chair across from a woman, something bad could happen.
He also just doesn't have the mental fortitude to do that at this stage. Like he's that unhinged. He was definitely wearing a mask when he was doing that short interview with the studio just on the red carpet.
Yeah.
He seemed like he had been drugged and media trained very specifically for scripted questions, scripted answers. And he was talking differently than he usually talks in those. I know you didn't notice it, but
I didn't notice it.
It almost seemed like he was trying to sound like flamboyant and put on a gay accent.
He also he did sound very, very
sedated
to me. Like when he sounded tired.
So he wouldn't have even been capable of doing a media circuit if they wanted him to.
And then they got to have Michael Keaton there. He's getting old. It's not like he's a spring chicken. By interview 9, he needs a nap. Yeah.
Yes! Spring chicken. Thank you. You
know what we need to do? We need to sneak this into the IRL studio and not tell them and somehow make it so they get crisis parties when they get certain amounts of money. Just imagine
it'll be more difficult to hide the lights.
Imagine Tim. Well, just the sound. Okay. We'll just give them the sound. Imagine Tim is he's just talking and all of a sudden just boom, explosion, and Ian and Carter are singing a duet about crisis parties.
You've never accidentally hit the crisis party while they're doing IRL, right?
No.
Okay.
I've accidentally set it off when they were doing an after show once, but it was when the crisis party was in its infancy and was it was just the DJ horn.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yep.
It's not 30 seconds straight of
They're saying they wished for a new party sound. Sorry, guys. I'm keeping this one for this week because there are plenty of people who have not heard this one yet. So I want everyone to get a chance to hear this one.
Yeah. There are also going to be different guests on the show this week because I'm going to be out of town for the next couple days.
Yes. You'll be back on Thursday, right?
Yes. Back on Thursday.
Fantastic. All right. Speaking of super chats and crisis parties, we got some super chats there.
Andrew Jacobs said, "No, Mary, we wary. Belated welcome back. Hi, Bert."
And welcome back, Mary. Just before going again but guys, what you don't realize is like
Hurricane Bert.
There's got to be a Hurricane Bert by now. Mary has to go on these outings because we need her to promote the show for us.
Are they mad at me now?
No. But
I can't find a Hurricane Bert. No, just Brett. Peter Leo said, "Mary, I didn't go to mass, but I did pray about it and then proceeded to get lost in the woods trying to find a lake to vlog and wound up at Catholic church called, wait for it, St. Peter's."
Hey.
Well, did you go in it?
Interesting. I have a question. Are all the churches named after so they're all just certain amount of saints and then just the St. Peter in your area? There's other St. Peters around?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I had my first communion at St. Pascal's, which was a school. Mm-hmm. Yeah. St. Pascal's.
It's usually just different saints. Mm-hmm. Urashima Otaru said, "After what they did with Korra, I trust no one with it."
Not hard to...
that whole thing was just like for Tumblrites that make fan art, and it wasn't actually for people who liked the show.
Yep. I never saw it. I mean, I didn't watch it, but I know that there's very strong opinions about Legend of Korra.
Not worth it. I mean, don't watch it without watching the original series anyway. Shane H. Wilder said, "Looks like Zuko just has a black eye. Put a bag of frozen vegetables on it. You'll be fine. Prayers for safe travels, Mary, and good luck on primetime." Thank you.
Okay, here's a question for you. What would you like them to do? What would be the peak of humor if Mary was on the show? Like, if you had it your way.
Oh, I thought you meant Netflix.
No.
I would like them to do nothing.
No. Like, could you stop existing, please?
I would like them to stop making shows.
What would you like to do on Alex Stein?
I want to do like fashion review and hot or not of conservative influencers. I don't even know if Alex Stein would go there. He can do a lot, but...
You end up losing a lot of access if you're like, man, so-and-so's looking smoking. So-and-so's looking smoking hot tonight. And then like just super leery and creepy. And here's the thing. And every time we do it, I slick my hair back and make it really, really like bad looking.
Remember the, what was it called? The Deplorable?
No, what?
You don't remember
that? What?
Please look that up later.
Okay,
I swear I'm not making this up. There was like an actual formal red carpet event for right-wing influencers. Oh. When was this? It must have been like 2016 or something.
The Deplorable.
It was called the Deplorable.
So it's like Jingle Ball for righties?
Yeah. It'd be sort of like a Met Gala review, but better. Deuce Boogaloo said, "Sick in bed with strep right now. Let PCC be my chicken soup today."
Well, it is.
Oh, pair it with a chicken soup.
Yes.
That sounds nice.
Let's hold off on the rest and we will come back. Feel better.
Get well soon.
Deuce Boogaloo. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's talk about Harry and Meghan because this amazing Spotify executive, who's like my new favorite person, given everything that he said here, he's criticizing them. He's calling them grifters because their deal with Spotify has gone belly up. His name is Bill Simmons, and he's the head of podcast innovation and monetization. That's his job title.
He didn't just call them grifters. He called them effing grifters. I believe he might be a Joe Rogan stan.
Well, good. Like, this guy's hilarious. So it says, an executive at Spotify called Prince Harry and Meghan grifters the day after the news dropped that the pair's podcast archetypes would no longer be on streaming platforms.
Here's his pitch. The effing grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched with them. I gotta get drunk one night and tell the story of the Zoom I had with Harry to try and help him with a podcast idea. It's one of my best stories. Bill Simmons, please
come on our show.
Appear as a guest on our show and tell us the story of this Zoom call.
We should reach out to him.
I'm dying to know.
We should reach out to him.
Honestly, I will.
I'm picturing him like on a Zoom call with Harry, who's like every time a door closes behind him, he flinches really bad because he thinks Meghan's coming in to yell at him.
He just seems slow.
Yeah.
Is that just me?
No, I mean
Harry seems like he's just not like all the way there upstairs.
Like, I love it. And like, I'm really picturing him just like every time he hears a brush or a gust of wind, he shrieks because he thinks Meghan's coming from another room to yell at him for something.
I mean, all Harry has is like recycled fake or exaggerated stories of him growing up as a royal, him, getting married as a royal. And you can only recycle and cannibalize those stories so many times when the memoir is out.
Do you think that
he's not very bright? Meghan Markle, all she has to sell as a personality is virtue signaling and whining and complaining all the time. That was literally the theme of her podcast, Archetypes.
We already know that Emily Ratatouille does it better anyways.
Archetypes is called Archetypes because she is constantly on every episode complaining about women getting reduced into stereotypical roles, complaining about being on Deal or No Deal when she actually studied international relations in college, so she's very cultured and worldly, and they just didn't give her the credit she deserved on Deal or No Deal. To think that you're an expert, by the way, in anything that you studied in college is so funny to me, by the way. Like,
why?
You have an undergrad in psychology. It doesn't make you a therapist.
Yeah.
So do you want to play the clip?
Yeah.
I sent this to you if you want to play it. From the Bill Simmons podcast.
Wait, when did you send it? Is it part of the article?
No, I just messaged it to you.
Okay, I got it here. Hold on. Oh, here it is. All right, let's play this.
We need this guy on the show.
Oh, please. No, here we go.
I'm going to pose this question to you. You do a lot of business deals, a lot of negotiations.
I do.
Well, let's just.
I wish I had been involved in the Meghan and Harry leave Spotify negotiation. The fucking grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched with them.
I love how
I
it's
gotta
just
get
totally
drunk one night and
unrelated
tell
to
the
the
story of the
conversation.
Zoom I
He
had
was
with Harry to try to help him with the
dying to
He just hates them, and he needed to get it off his chest.
podcast idea.
Do it.
It's one of my best stories.
Dude, there hasn't been a Drunk
Let's just-
Simmons podcast. Let's both get drunk and then it'll just be drunk.
Save that idea.
It'll be really
Fucking-
easy.
He sounds like such a bro.
Yeah.
I love
He needs to go on Barstool.
He does. Like, he sounds like a bro. I'm here for it. Look, like, did anybody think anything else other than this? I would love to be able to see, because, like, I bet you Radikowski's podcast does fine. Maybe not given the size of her platform, but she's doing bigger numbers.
High
than,
Low
like,
isn't on Spotify, though, right?
But I'm saying, but in
It's
general,
sponsored
right?
by
Like, she's doing good
Sony
numbers.
or something.
They're doing bigger numbers than us, but they've got 3 times the name. Their name recognition is enormous. They should be
Exactly.
doing even bigger than that.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to listen to them whine.
If you actually look
People
at
want to listen to us whine.
Yeah.
They don't want to listen to them whine. They want to listen to us whine.
If you actually look at the videos that are posted from Emrata's podcast, they don't get that many views. And the buzz all comes from recycled headlines in the media saying, Emrata complains about men doing this. Emrata complains about men doing that. Being a single mom, dating, misogyny, da-da-da. It's just a factory of women whining.
You know what she should?
Also,
you know what Meghan should do? She should start a briefcase company.
Meghan Markle should
as an FU to Deal or No Deal. She should start a briefcase company.
She's good at doing the soy face.
She.
It also says that Simmons did not hold his tongue about the royal couple even during the time they were under contract with Spotify. Last January, he blasted Prince Harry, saying it was embarrassing to be affiliated with the same company. Oh gosh, I don't know if I should say this part. He said, shoot this guy to the sun. I'm so tired of this guy. What does he bring to the table? He just whines about shit and keeps giving interviews. Who gives a shit? Who cares about your life?
Well,
you weren't even the favorite son.
Well, I mean,
you live in effing Montecito and you just sell documentaries and podcasts and nobody cares what you have to say about anything unless you talk about the royal family and you just complain about them.
Yeah. Yeah, see, Mary, nobody cares about what we have to say, but at least we're not complaining about the royals just for clout.
I mean, neither of us are here because we have sob stories.
Yeah.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are where they are now and have the money they have because they have sob stories that they're selling.
Every time I see that picture of her and him and Oprah, and I'm just like, it was all whining. The whole thing was whining.
I do genuinely feel a tinge of pity for Prince Harry, but not because of any of the reasons he gives that he's been put upon and oppressed. It's because he's being oppressed by his wife.
Yeah.
So it very clearly.
It's funnier if he didn't want to do the podcast deal, but she's like, no, we have to do it.
Yeah, they cut this short by what, like a whole year? They
Yeah.
had like a 2-year deal, and now
they don't get to
they're
keep all
only
the money, or like they don't get the full $20 million. But that's not going to matter because supposedly, guys, Meghan is going to sign a $20 million 3-year deal with Dior. So her and Johnny Depp are going to do some tandem Dior ads together.
I really hope that this happens. Interesting choice, but she still has the deal. The Archwell Studios still has a deal with Netflix that's ongoing.
Yeah.
But they shot down a pitch that she had for an animated series for kids.
Imagine letting her like preach to your kids.
Plenty of people are crazy enough to let her. But they also were talking about making rom-coms. Like, I just don't want to see anything from these people.
I don't know. Like,
the only reason that their docuseries on Netflix got any traction was because of people hate watching it.
And it has to do with the royals. Like, anything not connected to the royals isn't going to do well for them because that's their niche, right? And the royals are still
They're not famous for being themselves.
No. But they're like, but the royals are it's a public fascination, right? That goes beyond just them.
Right.
And it goes far longer than that. So, like, if you go to Newsweek, if you go to Newsweek's entertainment section, the top row is like current news. Everything under that is all royals news.
Yeah, it is weirdly like fascinating to Americans.
You know what he should do? He should start a podcast with Will Smith.
Bill Simmons?
No,
Or Prince
Harry. Him and Will Smith should start a podcast, and it's just called
The Ball and Chain.
Yeah. The Ball and Chain podcast with Will Smith and Prince Harry. The Fresh Prince and Prince Harry do a podcast together, and it's literally them just talking about being married to domineering women who make all the decisions and make your life miserable. And then they have Ben Affleck guest star because of Jennifer Lopez. And all three of them just sit there and they're all just Eeyore the whole time. And they're like...
People were mad at Jennifer Lopez for her Father's Day post of Ben Affleck, but not the father of her other children.
she's still like newly married.
I also didn't want to see Ben Affleck's shirtless mirror pic, but thanks for that, J-Lo.
You didn't like that? You didn't like he's in good shape.
Seems to be like something he didn't think would get out there, but
he's in good. It's funnier if that's like he sent that to her thinking it was like, this is just for you.
Yeah.
And then she shared it out. He's like, I didn't want you to share that with anyone. Look, just because you want to share pictures of you half naked does not mean I want to.
Certainly what it seems like.
Like, and that would make kind of sense, right? Like he's a little bit more conservative than she is probably.
Wait, Prince Harry is?
No, Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Like not conservative politically, but he's not sharing mirror pics of himself like half naked. I don't know, maybe he is.
You love when a guy doesn't post on social media. You love when that happens.
I was reading about Tom Clancy last night, and they were talking about the fact that even though he was an outspoken conservative, all the people that have played Jack Ryan have like been Democrats. So, and Ben Affleck was one of them in Sum of All Fears.
Well, who cares?
But they were pointing it out, and I was like, it's Hollywood.
Yeah.
They were never going to find.
It's almost like having a whole category in award shows for non-binary actors. There aren't enough of them to pick from.
I think there will be eventually.
Okay, I want to know: are there more conservatives in Hollywood behind closed doors or non-binary actors?
Behind closed doors?
No, are there more like out non-binary?
I
people
guarantee
in Hollywood
you there are more
conservatives?
closeted conservatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, according to our recent guest, Mike Lerner, there are a lot of closet conservatives in the entertainment industry, but they, to the public, show a different face, which is more despicable, I think, than being genuine in your leftist beliefs.
I don't know if I buy that. Like, I think that there's like some language being applied there. What they might take as conservative might just be more libertarian live and let live ideals. Like they might...
a celebrity saying in private that they're pro-life and that they think abortion is evil,
okay,
and then publicly endorsing abortion, that's a very clear example of something that is a partisan issue that they're outwardly lying to their fan base about to get approval and affirmation. And that's more disgusting, I think, than just genuinely being pro-choice, I think.
Do you think that it's one of those? Well, what if it's one of those
have
things
some
where
integrity about it, or just don't speak on political issues at all
Well,
if you're a
that's what I'm
celebrity because it's not your place.
What if it's one of those things where they don't want to talk about it, but it gets brought up in interviews? Like we say, a lot of the times, these people end up cornered in these interviews where they're forced to make some type of statement.
Really that much?
Well, if you say no comment, that's a comment to them. Like if you say no comment on this topic,
there are so many ways to
they'll say so and so refused to speak.
Neutral on a topic.
They'll say so and so refused to speak on
Staying
this.
neutral these days is considered a political line as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's celebrities' place to be preaching to us about politics, no matter what side they're on.
Yeah.
On any issue, just have some integrity about it if you're going to.
Who do you think is meaner to their husband, Meghan, Jada, or J-Lo? And then Meghan, okay. Oh my, that's what we'll do. Okay, no, it's one big podcast, right? So how often do they release podcasts? Usually, they're not like us where they release it every day. Hold on, Unusable Alpaca, we'll come back to it. Hold on, just hold on. So what they do, if they release their podcasts once a week, right? So say the first Monday and the third Monday is the Big Sigh podcast. That's the boys. That's Ben Affleck. That's Prince Harry, and it's Will Smith. And they're just sitting there complaining about the women and how they treat them. And then the second week and the fourth week, that's Angry Women podcast, and that's Jada, Meghan, and J-Lo, and they have roundtables where they bitch about the others, and then like at the end of it, they have a dual podcast where they all sitting around in a row together, and they have a big panel.
They're gonna bring back Red Table Talk.
Let's go!
I get the feeling that Jada is definitely the worst. I mean, at least Prince Harry and Ben Affleck haven't been like overtly like cucked in the public eye.
Yep. We got a $20 one from Unusable Alpaca.
Oh, yeah. One of my worst revelations in my history of entertainment viewing was when I realized Meghan Markle was the hot chick in Suits. Such an amazing show that I'm so very happy I finished before the realization.
Yeah, like for me, dude, this is one of those things where like I'm able to watch old things. That's not true. Like I can block it out for the most part. Nowadays, it's more about the entertainment being bad. The celebrity being annoying doesn't really bother me as much. When I watch
celebrities have always been annoying.
Yeah, like the only thing that's different is that social media became a thing, and now you have access to their really, really stupid thoughts 24/7. But she's so fantastic in that show that it really is a shame that you know what she's like in her private life. But you should never look to celebrities to be any type of moral guide anyways. So just enjoy Suits for what it is, my friend. And
Grit
Suits
your
is
teeth and bear it.
Suits is a fantastic show. And what's his name? The guy who plays Mike Ross in that show, Patrick J. Adams, he's married to Donald Bellisario's daughter, Trojan. I don't know how to pronounce her name. She's from Pretty Little Liars. I usually think it was Trojan Bellisario, but it's Troian. It looked like a J. Troyan. So he's married to her. So he's married into the Bellisario family. But something tells me she probably wears the pants in that relationship too, because
I think most Hollywood women wear the pants in their relationships.
Yeah.
But then also rely on their husbands and their army of nannies to make this work-life balance that they have with their careers viable.
Are there any movies about Hollywood, about the dark world of Hollywood nannies?
I would love to see that.
Is that a thing? I bet you somebody in the chat knows.
It's just that all of those nannies would be sacrificing their careers to be in it.
It would have to be done as they're older and they've already retired.
We've got one from Dave Gazuli. He said, if Harry and Meghan do finally get their privacy, I will consider it a great day for Canada and therefore the world.
Well, they've been searching for that privacy in a bunch of public places for ages now, and they just can't seem to find it.
Yeah.
Is that
doing a podcast twice a month?
Yeah.
Where all you do on it is complain and invite other guests who have a penchant to complain. Like, imagine that privilege.
At least do it 5 days a week like us.
Yeah, at least complain about your life 5 days a week.
If you're going to complain on a podcast,
commit to the bit.
Do it full time. Don't give me any of this, I'm a twice a month complainer podcast garbage. You have to complain 5 days a week or you're not a pro complainer.
This is also not a mutual decision that they made to part ways, even though the PR statement said that.
Yeah.
They had to explain very explicitly that Harry and Meghan were not reaching productivity benchmarks to justify continuing the contract.
China Reyes in the chat says, I think famous people need to be with famous people. I've never seen successful relationships with a famous and a normie.
But do you know about them?
There are plenty of TV couples, like people who act, who marry like regular people. Also, Dolly Parton is married to a guy who's just he was a construction worker, he's a contractor.
You know more about celebrity couples because they're celebrity couples, basically. Right? So you know more of their mess. But you're right that like when you're in the A-list category, these are egos and like mental illnesses that just butt heads, and it's usually doomed to fail.
In the chat, Flash is barely a top 35 greatest superhero movies ever made. Says, sounds like PCC. Yes, but we complain 5 days a week. You see.
Yeah.
So we're professional.
And we complain about other people, not our own lives.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I actually made a post last night. Like, what I've realized is that, like, anybody can, like, recognize how good they have it when things are good. But being able to recognize how blessed you are when things are actually in a downturn, that's actually one of the best things you can learn how to do, right? And that comes through time and perspective. So if you've struggled for any period of time, it allows you to more adequately access what that was like mentally. So that way, when things are just a little bit down or things are just kind of a little bit annoying, you're like, look, things are a bit of a problem right now. I'm kind of struggling right now, but overall, I'm very, very lucky to have all that I have. It would behoove them, Harry and Meghan and Jada and Will, and all of these people to, like, every once in a while be like, look, yeah, it sucks that people say mean things about us. Yes, my job comes with a unique set of concerns that normal people wouldn't be able to understand. But on the whole, I'm extremely blessed and fortunate to have all that I have. I think a little bit of that would go a long way for these people. Like, if they're trying to reconnect with the average person.
This also doesn't have to be her job. Like, she never needed to be in the public eye in the first place, but this is the spouse that she chose and actively pursued, and now she's complaining about the consequences. And like, you're like one of the most privileged women in human history and have made it your job to complain about women getting held back. The description of Archetypes is a podcast where we investigate, dissect, and subvert the labels that try to hold women back. What labels have held Meghan Markle back? She's like on top of the world, is a literal princess with tens of millions of dollars. I don't see what's worth complaining about there.
Yeah.
Or how she's been held back, especially not for racial reasons.
Is it
she's
just the market?
Completely like tarred and feathered the country that she moved to.
Is it just the market because they know that this is what women would want to listen to and other women speak about?
It's not a popular podcast. Yeah. I mean, you could say that about like the Call Her Daddy podcast. That's the biggest podcast for women on Spotify, period. That's, I mean, they do some complaining on there, sure, but most of it is just like girls talking about dating, talking about their skincare routines, talking about relationships. They're not trying to get all academic, you know what I mean? Like, Call Her Daddy started out as like a raunchy hookup podcast.
I think part of that might be that, look, that's coming from people who are considered fairly normal in profile. Like, maybe they're famous now, but when it started, they weren't Meghan Markle, and they definitely weren't Jada Pinkett Smith. They weren't Emily Ratajkowski.
Then they got famous just because of their personalities.
Exactly. So I'm saying, but like,
which
these
is
other
more
women,
respectable.
These other women come in with a previously famous persona and complain, and that's different. I think. Like, maybe I'm wrong about that. Like, to me, that would color my perception of it, right? Like, if I'm listening to an everyday person, even an everyday person that's successful, I'm going to look at it differently than some famous person with some type of high profile who's complaining about things that just can't relate, that as a regular person I just can't relate to, right? So the things that bother me or the things that are going to affect my life every day aren't the things that are going to affect a celebrity's everyday life. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have something to complain about. Everyone's got something to complain about, but that just means that the things that you need to complain about aren't marketable as something to sell.
Do you need a $200 million platform to complain about those things?
No.
like, couldn't you just talk to your friends and family about it
That's
instead
what I mean,
of
like,
broadcasting it to the world?
The average
and
everyday
getting mad
person.
when people rightly react saying like, no, you're actually entitled.
The average everyday person, their complaining is marketable.
Yeah.
A famous person complaining
She
is
has
not
no
marketable.
relatable problems.
Yeah.
So even though she has problems, if we can't relate to them, I'm not gonna act like I sympathize.
Also, it's look, she's going to get her $22 million or her $20 million deal from Dior. She's going to be fine.
Gonna be just fine.
They're going to be just fine.
Unfortunately, they're too big to fail.
They're literally the banks.
Yeah.
They're the banks of America. Thanks, Obama. This is all his
Thanks,
fault.
late capitalism.
Late
Thanks,
stage
Obama,
capitalism.
etc.
All right. Let's go to Super Chat, shall we?
It's over 9,000 said, on Friday, the LA Dodgers tried to please everyone and ended up pleasing no one. As DJ Khaled would say, congratulations, you played yourself. What happened with the LA Dodgers?
I just know that they had the sisters or whatever, the group that mocks Christians.
What is it called? The Sisters of Perpetual, like, debauchery or something?
Something like that, yeah.
They had them perform at a game.
I don't know what they tried to do on Friday.
Oh, wow. Protesters shut down Dodgers Stadium main gate on Pride Night.
I saw that part.
Oh, it's called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence.
That's
at the Dodgers Pride Night. Why do we need to insert pride into sports?
That was the point I made on Friday.
Especially when it's supposed to be a family event.
I didn't say pride. I said, what the hell did drag shows have to do with sports? Like, now I'm just into branding. I'm like, what does this have to do with this? It's like taking like if you ran a what are those things called behind you? The plushies. If you ran a plushie company and you're like, let's go to NASCAR and promote it, it doesn't fit. It makes no sense. What does it have to do with that? What, like, would you bring a bunch of Ren Fair people to a baseball game?
It's
not the same audience. It doesn't make any sense.
Sketch Therapy said Bad Bunny was there. He threw someone else's phone.
He
stole their phone just to throw it.
Well, that's just cheap. Like, he could just throw his own phone.
Yeah. Sir Rank O Productions said, thanks for sharing Luna again. Finally got married to see her. Haha, she's an Alaskan Husky. Apparently I adopted her, so I don't know her origins. LOL, keep it up, PCC. Okay, I thought it was a Samoyed, but cute.
Thank you.
Sketch Therapy said, if Flash had WNBA cameos, it would have succeeded. So true. Where was the Brittany Griner cameo in The Flash? That's what I would have been buying my ticket.
What they could have done? They could have had the Flash run to, because they were already in Russia. They already went to Russia to save Supergirl. They could have had him stop off
on the
and
way.
rescue Brittany Griner.
Just an extra errand he was running. That would have been perfect.
Why didn't they? This is what happens when you make your movie, when your movie's made 10 years ago and it just sits on the shelf waiting to come out. There's all sorts of cultural relevance that could have fit right in there. And then on the way out, he could have punched Putin in the face.
But unironically, though, the script being written in 2013 is the sole reason why any of that story was tolerable.
Oh, it's hilarious. Like, I'm literally picturing him coming up. He's like, he punches a Putin here and he waves the Ukrainian flag as he's running back to America, to Gotham City to hang out with Bruce again, and he's just like, Ukraine, and then I don't know,
sings with Brad Paisley.
Yes, that's that. Yeah, and like as he's punching Putin, he high fives Joe Manchin. And then Garth,
Joe Manchin.
That was who it was, right?
Yeah,
and then as he tips his hat to Garth Brooks or something, and it's just fantastic.
Yurishima Otaru said Zaslav should have just trashed it for tax write-off.
That not for something with that budget. Like
that's not going to pay it off.
The Batgirl budget was like $90 million, and that's without any money put into marketing yet. This was at least $300 million
for streaming in the first place.
Yeah, this was at least $300 million with way more than that in marketing put into it. So
Quite Blackpilled said, "We're not mad, Mary, just disappointed."
Don't be mad at Mary and don't be disappointed at Mary. Mary needs to go on these podcasts because she is out there spreading the gospel of pop culture. Oh, sorry, is that blasphemous? Spreading
I never
the word,
said that.
Spreading the word on pop culture crisis. So it's her like that's what they should have you do. You should show up at a door at Alex Stein like, Have you heard the good word about our Lord and Savior? No?
I seriously am terrified, though.
It's going to be fun.
I don't know what he's going to pull.
It's going to be fun.
Jimbo said, with the current trajectory, we're only a few years out from divorcee Meghan Markle being on Celebrity MILF Manor and Harry slinking back to the UK. A Celebrity MILF Manor? I don't even want to think about that.
That's totally reasonable to be a thing. I'm down. Let's do one more.
They have Celebrity Big Brother, so why not?
Yep. Well,
Mr.
wasn't
X?
who? Who was somebody famous that was on Celebrity Big Brother? I can't think of it, but there's a couple of them.
I don't know. I just know that like
Was
Trisha
Andrew
Paytas
Tate
was on it.
Was Andrew Tate on one of the Big Brothers?
I don't know.
Am I imagining
if
that?
If he was, I'll watch it.
I think I might be imagining that.
Mr. X said these women should start a podcast called The Wine Cellar. Wine meaning whining.
That's absolutely what they should call it. All right, guys, let us move on, shall we? So, not only was it The Flash that failed this weekend, well, Disney Pixar's Elemental failed big time this weekend as well. It brought in like $11 million on its opening day in much less than 30, I think it might be $29.5 million over the weekend, but that's not what this movie is getting roasted for. This movie is getting roasted for the fact that it has what they call the historic first non-binary character for a Disney Pixar film.
Not only that, but it draws attention to city ordinances.
That's a selling point to me.
A story about overcoming prejudice. What else?
That was
migration, xenophobia.
Yeah. It draws on themes of xenophobia and migration and how love transcends differences. Well, that sounds like a whole mess of fun.
That
sounds like a freaking blast.
Sounds like a blast for the whole family.
Sign me up for the movie about xenophobia and migration.
Yeah, someone said it was mostly about city ordinances and not in a clever way.
That's funny though. That's at least memeable.
Okay, but I really, this is a race allegory. There are 4 elements that live in this society, but separately, and a girl made of fire and a guy made of water fall in love, but their families don't approve of it because society, man.
And they get this actor, this poor actor who comes out. By the way, this movie has Mamadou Athie, who's they advertise him as from The Black Box. Mamadou Athie, if I remember correctly, now maybe my brain is just scrambled today, was the lead actor on a Netflix series called Archive 81, which is extremely depressing, but a very, very good watch. I do recommend you checking that out. I would have you check that out before I would have you check out Elemental, personally. But so it's.
I saw this announcement from the voice actor Kai Ava Hauser, who is a non-binary voice actor. Big announcement! I got to play Pixar's first non-binary character. Meet Lake. I voice Lake in the new movie Elemental. Seeing it in theaters tonight with my friends. So if you can catch it in theaters too, if you want to see him. And this is Wade's younger sibling.
Lake is a clever name for it.
Not really.
I like it.
Not really.
I like it.
So this is not even a protagonist character.
No.
This is just on the sidelines. So I'm wondering, how the heck did you even shoehorn it in there, like the information that this character is non-binary or goes by they, them pronouns? Or is it like some kind of water pronoun?
We got a $20 one there from Dave Gazzulli.
It's like, my pronouns are drip drop.
Well, they could have had Gina Carano do that.
Dave Gazzulli said, this is just like the Phantom Menace featuring the intricacies of intergalactic trade law.
See, I find that clever. Like, I find the idea of somebody, like, I like the idea of some dude who just really hates homeowners associations writing an entire movie based on crappy laws having to do with how like tall your shrubs can be cut. Like, I like that. I think that's more like, that to me is more clever and more inviting to all people because it's kind of silly than saying, let's make a movie about really, really raw topics like racism,
xenophobia. This is just a rehashed
xenophobia.
Story about racism to feed and indoctrinate kids. Yeah. Plaz said, the secret of Pride is that it's a recreation of the ancient Mesopotamian pagan Ishtar cult. I'll continue after the crisis party. Thank you.
We miss you, Phil. We miss you, Ian. We miss you, Carter. We're gonna have to have Phil back on when he gets back in town.
Yes. Whose month-long midsummer celebration, Tammuz, featured temple prostitutes, transvestites, cross-dressers, and other paraphilics.
Where were the temple prostitutes? I'm asking
at the LA Dodgers.
I'm asking for a friend.
Were there prostitutes at the LA Dodgers game?
I don't know. We had union strippers at the writers' strike.
So anything goes these days.
I mean, they were lunch shift union strippers, but they were still strippers.
So I guess this was a big leap in progress for representation of non-binary characters
Should we watch
in
the
kids'
clip?
movies.
Should we watch the clip from? Hold on, I got it here.
From what?
Hold, please, guys.
Okay.
The
from the other two.
Let's watch this clip, guys. It's rather prophetic.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Globby.
That's right. Globby will be the Haunted Buddies' first ever openly queer character.
Sorry, so this goo is homosexual?
The goo is homosexual.
Incredible. Yes. No, very cool. And how exactly is he gay? Because he sort of just looks like sexless green snot.
Great question, because we've also gotten some flack for saying a character is gay and then not really showing it.
Which is why, in Haunted Buddies 4, we're including a groundbreaking scene where Vampira opens the door to Globby's bedroom, and we see Globby in bed with another glob.
Which is huge. I mean, for Disney to include a scene as unapologetically gay as this?
Right, I mean, 2 globs in bed, it doesn't get more gayer than that.
It doesn't get more non-binary than this.
Like clips like that remind you that actors, I guarantee you plenty of actors think all this stuff is stupid. Like nobody didn't take that role on principle. Those people all acted in that scene because at the very least they can laugh at themselves if they're part of that community, or they can laugh at it because they too understand that the rules we as a society are forcing each other to live under now are absolutely ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure that someone made of a flame and someone made of water, they don't have genders anyway, so
it opened to just $11.8 million on Friday.
Because no one gives a shit about what Pixar is doing these days.
The lowest. That's Disney's fault too.
It is, yeah.
Like Disney is focused heavily on their own animation and seems to be kicking everything Pixar other than Toy Story to the curb.
Well, also Disney animation isn't doing well either, given Strange World.
But they would rather see Disney do better than Pixar.
Right.
Right?
It's just like Zootopia, yeah, that did well. But once again, it's just another allegory to teach kids about race.
You know what's gonna be funny?
I don't think kids, first of all, understand what's being implied.
You know what'd be funny?
They also don't care.
They don't care. Kids don't care. Like, the other thing that would be funny, you know what Disney's like? I like the idea one day that they're sitting there in their office, right? And Bob Iger's there, and he's taking his meeting. He's got Feige over here. He's got Kathleen Kennedy here. He's got the head of Pixar over here. And then one day, they just realize, they're like, crap. We've done all the firsts.
Yeah.
The first gay, like, every company has now officially done the first other thing. And Bob goes, quick, buy another company. Because we need to have more first gay this, first non-binary this.
More fake
first
milestones.
Yeah, like, so one day, like, he starts buying companies so they can continue having firsts of stuff.
These movies also are for adults who have Pixar nostalgia, who can't grow up, who are in extended adolescence. They're weirdo Tumblr users who make like gross sexual fan art on DeviantArt, who are shippers. That, like, the furries, those were the fans of Zootopia. I don't think that
but the furries
this
and
is for kids anymore.
Haven't the furries and the bronies proven themselves to be, for the most part, they leave everybody else alone and they just do their own thing? Am I imagining
really,
that?
no.
Like, it feels like plenty of them just like they're like the libertarians of the
As long as they're
weirdo.
having their
like,
furry conventions in public.
Leave them be. I don't like it. If you're not bothering me, I'm not going to bother you. If you want to go be a furry, if you want to be
They notoriously try to involve other people in their weird
I think the
tics and
other kin
fetishes.
do that. I feel like the other kin are the weirdos.
Who
and
cares
the furries
about
are
the
normals.
distinctions? They're all the same. They're degenerates, Brett. Why are you using their language?
I will let them be. If they leave other people be, I will leave them be.
What is it? You can't destroy the master's house with the master's tools?
Look,
this applies here, Brett.
If the
or
if
can
the,
you?
If
I don't remember the phrase.
If the otherkin and the furries want to have their own convention, and they're consenting adults and they do whatever they want, leave them be. I don't care. Totally fine.
Pixar's movies are just for adults at this point. They're also made by adults who are self-indulgent, trying to tell stories about themselves. Like Turning Red was a perfect example of this. It did a little bit better, but Luca did terribly.
Yeah.
Which is,
yeah. But that was COVID, right?
I mean, that was during 2021.
Yeah.
Just dump these all on streaming or like get rid of them altogether.
The chat is on your side. The chat says yes about the
there's
furries.
no actual like concrete difference between otherkin and furries. Come on.
They are now.
Now they think Brett's a secret furry.
That is, yeah. That's they're
well,
very
let's run
firmly,
with that.
They're very firmly on your side.
What's your persona, Brett?
I don't have a. What?
Are you a fox?
No. Wait.
Everyone picks
is that. Where
you're not like other furries. Okay,
is that where the song came from?
What song?
What does the fox say?
No.
Remember that?
That was before people even knew what furries were. It was a more innocent time in 2012. I miss it.
The good old days, right? when times were simpler. Look, I think what they need to do, what Disney needs to do, they need to just set up like a holding company. They can create a new company every few years, and like just every few years you have one movie and you get all of the firsts out of the way in the one movie, and then you just dissolve the company. So they make a company next year called what would be a great company? First Star. And then they have the first gay this character in a First Star movie, first non-binary this character in this movie, and they get through all of them. They
you also need to do the intersections.
Okay, maybe they got to release 2 movies a year then, and then they can get it all done, all out of the way at once, and it'll be fine.
I don't understand like who finds this impactful as a social commentary on where we're at in 2023.
Yeah.
With race relations, where we're talking about like elements don't mix. Like that's a very on the nose allegory. If I ever saw one, no one is like. I'm sorry, is there like a popular sentiment against like interracial dating in 2023?
No. Not from normal people.
That's because that's what this movie is clearly about, and it's mainly for people to, virtue signal about bringing their kids to see it. And kids don't care.
And they didn't go see it because nobody cares. Because it's not funny, it's not fun, it's not interesting. And in a lot of ways, it does reek of try hard, right? Like, look at this great message we're making. Oh, what is it?
Others pointed out the movie could have worked much better as an allegory for accessibility, given Ember's comment about the city not being made for fire people. Yeah, being made of fire, it's a disability. And it's really hard out here for people who are made of fire.
Why is it that,
in a world made for water?
You know what I think it is? I think one of the reasons I love entertainment prior to 2016, like even so people who watched Extraction 2, did you catch that one of the characters has a hearing aid? Like even in the movie, like I don't remember, like was that a studio note? Did they require the character to have that? It's like when those things were created and used in stories before, it was always done in a way that really elevated the story. In the movie I was watching, it just seemed like something that just kind of sort of got added in.
What was it? Covert Affairs?
Yes. Augie is blind,
and that has a lot to do with how the plot line.
Yeah, and the actor himself is not blind, which they would never allow to happen now. But they got away with it because they're like, look, we've got flashbacks of him when he could see, so they would be able to do that then.
Right.
And be like, but now I wonder if what they would say is like, look, okay, you wanna make a character who's blind who has flashbacks to when they could see. Well, then what you need to do is age up the actor that's blind so that we can use an actual blind person for the main character, and then use a seeing person who's younger, who's played by another actor for those scenes.
This is why your polemic that Disney needs to focus on anthropomorphic characters doesn't actually work, because they'll use anything to signal about race.
Then we need just anthropomorphic characters and just the people who made Puss in Boots.
Okay, Puss in Boots was a rare exception to the rule.
Yep.
That was a great movie. I haven't seen the other Puss in Boots, but I'm considering it now. I need to go back and watch Shrek and Puss in Boots in chronological order. Not chronological order of how they came out, but like the lore.
Yeah.
I need to educate myself on that.
But back in the day when they would have characters that had disabilities on TV shows, it felt like it was written in there by someone who actually was passionate about including it in the storyline. Now when they include characters with disabilities in these shows and movies, it reeks of studio note that somebody from the office said, you have to include this because we need it for a quota. We have a quota we need to meet.
I love the replies here. Can we joke about Disney's first queer character without quote tweeting the original actor celebrating their big break? This isn't the place for you to dunk on them.
How respectful of them.
Valid point, but did you have to tag the voice actor in it? Yes, honestly. I don't think that that's wrong. This person got a big break because they fit into an obscure minority category. They didn't get a big break because they're talented.
I would actually, the funny thing is what they're saying, I would do. I wouldn't put them in the quote, but you don't have the right to say that they can't be quote tweeted in it. I wouldn't do it, but I'm not gonna.
No, now they're getting cyberbullied.
Yeah, like I wouldn't do that to them, but I also understand that as the actor who took that role, you have now signed up that this is now part of your life. You just have to deal with it. Sucks. Yeah. Move on. I don't know. I just, it didn't do well, and believe it or not, kids don't want to go watch movies about xenophobia at all.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Accessibility.
They don't want to go watch movies about migration,
city ordinances.
Xenophobia. I mean, that, like I said, city ordinances movie sounds dope. That's just me, though. All right, we got some super chats there.
Shane H. Wilder said, Brett, hold on, unusable alpaca. I just had an idea. We're going to make millions. LOL, JK, my brother.
Yep. Well, I had my idea. I could go pitch that podcast to Harry, Meghan, Will, Jada, Ben, and J-Lo, but...
Don't give them any ideas. Wolf on the Plains said, Keaton should... number one, Keaton should only have come back as Old Man Wayne for a Batman Beyond live action. Yep. Cast an unknown as Terry McGinnis. Number two, Taron Egerton as the new Bond. Get more movies that way for the future.
Taron Egerton, that's an interesting.
Oh, Egerton.
That's his name. That's how you, if I remember, unless that's a different Taron that I don't know. But Taron Egerton, he's got baggage now because of the allegations against him that they might seem.
What are these allegations?
That he was kind of the same as the ones against. Who did we talk about?
Jonathan Majors.
No. There was somebody else.
There are so many people with allegations.
There was somebody else.
It's hard to narrow it down.
Some other actor who they're like him and his friend, the kid from. See, if I was having one of my good days, this name would be coming to my head like right away. But it was like one of the from Wednesday, Percy Hines White.
Oh, yeah.
He had similar allegations to like what was going on with Percy Hines White. And I think
that guy did was throw parties and hook up with girls.
Well, they're saying that he exclusively invited girls that were 13 to 17 when they were 17 to 20, and that they would get the girls to drink, and then they would pretend to drink themselves. All of this obviously uncorroborated.
That's worse than the Percy Hines White thing.
No, those are the Percy Hines White things I'm talking about, not the Taron Egerton.
Oh,
things.
okay. If your 13-year-old is going to parties with people in their 20s, that's neglect right there.
Yeah, on the parents' part.
Go get your kid.
But I think that for Taron Egerton, that it hasn't stopped him from getting work, but I don't think it's going to get him work on a franchise with that much scrutiny. Personal opinion. And you're right about Keaton should have come back. Like, this was a golden opportunity to make a Batman Beyond movie because people have been talking about that for years. I don't know who they would cast as Terry McGinnis, though. That would be interesting to see. But they really absolutely should have saved Keaton for that role. He's young enough where he could do it, but old enough that he fits into the role. It's a mistake.
Jimbo said, Mary, when Alex is just about to end the show, you should ask him what he thinks about the moon landing. See how long you can derail him.
Good idea.
Yeah, that was an interesting debate.
And then one more, and then we will move on.
Unusual Alpaca said, and then the Flash says the line from Team America, here to save the MF Day. I'm with you in this one, Brett. Throw in some alpaca, whether they be unusable or not. I'm partial to the unusable ones, by the way.
I still don't get
perturbed and unusable different. Are those different people?
I have no idea if they are perturbed. Are you separate from unusable? If not, does that make you non-binary? No, because you could
non-binary alpaca.
You could be binary still, because one could be a boy alpaca and one could be a girl alpaca. That's still binary.
What do we even use an alpaca for?
I don't know. It's a very good question. Let us move on. Let's talk about Jameela Jamil, because Jameela Jamil got in a little bit on the debate about non-binary status, because according to her, Hollywood is pushing out all the women with gender-neutral award categories. That's what she's saying. She's saying that if you're a woman, you're just getting tossed to the side with these award categories, which is funny because I think we said the same thing a while ago when the Brit Awards had went to gender-neutral awards, and then there was no women nominated for the number one.
Who could have
acting
seen
award.
that coming?
Who could have seen that coming, right? This is a very interesting discussion because the people arguing about it are all people that would disagree with us on 90% of the things that we talk about on here, but they can't seem to figure out where they fall on a controversial category like this. So she says, would it not be better to give non-binary their own category rather than open the door for Hollywood to completely shut out women, given the known disproportionate amount of men versus women winning at award shows? Reads a statement she posted on Instagram. You could take this and apply it to sports, and it would be fantastic.
If we now have enough non-binary talent to restructure entire awards shows, which is great, she has to add that in there.
Don't attack me. It's great.
Then we should add, rather than run the accidental risk of erasing. No, I say this as an audience member because I'm not going to be nominated for an Oscar anyway, obviously. LOL. I have no horse in this race.
I mean, that sounds like a humble
brag
of some sort, but you know.
There's a lot more here.
What are your thoughts? Do you think, I think she's right. They should just add a separate category. I absolutely agree with her.
Validate this fake identity that people are adopting solely to get more attention.
All it's going to do otherwise is every time they have these awards, the people in these committees are going to be like, sure, we could nominate the best actor or actress, or is there a non-binary term for actor or actress? Is it actor? Like, they're like, sure, we could nominate the best actor or actress. Sorry, just the best actor, because they don't believe in differentiating actor and actress in terms. But why do that when we can win so many social points by nominating this person because of their unique and extremely fashionable identity? What you do is you create a separate category for them, and then they have to then realize they have to come to terms with the fact that you are just now like everyone else. You just got your own award show category. You're not breaking down barriers. You're just like everyone else. You just happen to have a separate award for yourself as well.
Adding a whole category for non-binary actors.
They just added Best African Song to the Grammys. If they'll add topics for anything.
That's different. I mean, to add categories for music rather than people, right? But
well, it's a specific
there aren't even
group of
enough
people.
Non-binary actors to.
Oh, they'll find them.
They'll find them, and then they'll start coming out as non-binary very quickly after they realize it's benefits their career. But adding a whole new category just for non-binary actors is a participation award. She's very clearly saying we should expand the possibilities.
They love participation awards.
And so that more people win, period. Which does mean that less qualified people are going to win. If you have to choose more winners doesn't equal more.
So what you do, you make
merit
the award, you make
being
the award,
recognized.
You make the award, and then you make it one of those ones they give out before the show. That they give off, like, not live.
Oh, yeah.
That way that it doesn't have to be part of the live performance.
Well, they wouldn't accept that.
I know.
So it's a moot point anyway.
I know.
But
they would be like, what do you mean? We're not important enough?
This is more of the participation trophy culture, and I don't support also like validating these people's identities, which are not valid. They're not real.
Yeah, but you're not getting rid of them. They're not going anywhere. So we need to find practical solutions to this problem.
No, you don't need to find solutions to a non-existent problem. It is
a problem.
If someone's non-binary and they feel they're getting shut out of award shows because of their identity, then go ahead, don't give them awards.
But that's not the problem. The problem is that they're going to give them the awards. They're going to bend the knee. They're going to acquiesce every time. So the problem to solve is how to placate them.
Because they nominated a bunch of cis men.
It's going to end up becoming just at the.
If they're just going to end up nominating men, boys, let's go.
Was it at the Tonys?
I don't care.
the Tonys this year nominated and gave awards to 2 non-binary performers, and this is just going to, as these identities
in their own category.
No, in the all-included in the gender-neutral category. So what's going to happen is that as these identities become more fashionable, as these award shows become less and less popular, and they look for more and more ridiculous ways to stay relevant, they're going to continue to add these people for the feel-good feeling of look at this person who broke down all the barriers to win this award. Let's give it to them, even if they may or may not have given the best performance. Who knows?
Well, that's another point. Who cares what they're doing with their award shows anyway? No one is watching.
Corey Anderson says, I disagree, Brett. They should just get rid of the awards. Well, unfortunately, that's not an option. Otherwise, I would agree with you for the most part.
She added in this last slide, I was terrified of even writing something as benign as that in this current climate of social politics. But it appears a lot of you agree. Thank you for taking my best intention to heart. I didn't see any hate comments. Did you?
So there's a good amount of people who disagree with her heavily in the Deadline article. So
in the comments, one said, women have been given gifted positions and jobs they didn't deserve over men for a long time now. Stop complaining. People who vote like you created this mess.
So some person says it's important to let anyone compete in whatever category they identify in. It is not up to us or anyone else to decide where they belong. It's an award show. It's categorized. It's literally the job of someone else to figure out where the hell you belong. Yeah. Like these are delusional people. She sounds so tone deaf. Why does anyone care what she says? She's yours. These are us. They're us, but they're Deadline fans. It's a weird type of amalgamation of both our views and their views, and they're all coming together.
I think they're just confused about which side to take here based on the Oppression Olympics. Like, are we supposed to cape for women right now or for trans people?
That's literally what this is.
Who's the victim?
They're waiting for their NPC.
Who's the biggest victim?
They're waiting for their NPC brain update to finish downloading.
Interestingly, after a rumored spat between Jamil and Bella Ramsey commented on this post and said, I feel weird about there being a whole new category. I think it's more about language. I would love the award categories to be actress/non-binary performer and actor/non-binary performer. Why are we listening to 20-year-olds?
They just want, see what I mean? They just want to invade your space and take over.
Then the performer can be submitted into their preferred category. It's not a perfect solution, but that's my take on it. I think it's more about making us feel seen and included rather than being categorized.
I have a friend
I don't care about anyone feeling seen and included. I think you should feel unseen and excluded.
It's easier when you don't care, right? Like if you're just like, look, I don't care if I feel seen or included. That's easier than feeling like everyone has to cater to your every whim because you yourself feel that you have some type of unique identity that makes you special. None of us are special. We are not special. I'm not special. They're not special. This is one of the comments I had to comment on because it was so tone deaf to the society we live in Hollywood. This person in the Deadline article says, contrary to popular opinion, women do tend to get juicier roles than men because women and the characters they play are allowed to show emotion. Men and the characters they play, on the other hand, are expected to be stoic, which can lead to boring characters. They have not made a stoic male character since the Reagan administration. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Panicky male leads.
Dude, okay. I was watching, you know what the worst is? Anything that is a traditionally male or masculine hobby in a movie or television show in which a man and a woman will then play together, they then turn on their head and the woman beats them at it. Oh, they're playing basketball. Oh, look at the woman. She's so much better. They're playing poker. Oh, she just won they take every chance they can. Like my favorite is the test would be write a script, right? Where a guy and a girl have a car and the car breaks down on the side of the road and see who the writer decides to be the one to fix the car tire, to put on the spare. Mm-hmm. Will tell you a lot about who that writer is and how they perceive the characters. Is the guy the one who is going to actually get the jack out of the back and then go and put the spare tire on? Or are they going to have the woman do it because she's got to be strong and independent?
How about he attempts to, but then he messes it up somehow and she has to
come in and do it. Exactly, right? So, and that's the thing. That's a good gauge as to how the writing was. And this is a trope that's gone on in Hollywood longer than the over-the-top feminism is what was once a kind of endearing trope where the woman shows to be good at something that men are typically good at, right? That was cute at one point. Now it's just full of, look at women, we're better than men.
Yeah. Jamil did acquiesce on this after all, and added in a later post, I'm deferential to whoever is most qualified to make this decision. My post clearly states that I'm just asking a question. I'm not telling anyone what to do. We all want the same thing, equal opportunities for all. We're all on the same side here. Not true.
I don't know if that's accurate.
They don't want equal opportunity. They want to be privileged above everyone else.
They want special opportunities given to just them that they believe in their mind. They've created a fantasy in their mind that are just given to other people that are not. Like, they imagine that as a straight white man, I walk into a room and people just hand me things and offer me jobs.
They start clapping.
For me.
Wow.
Exactly,
a
right?
straight white male.
That's what they see that, and that's what they think my life is, right? So,
we've got a couple last super chats to go through.
Let's go for it.
Shane H. Wilder said, Mary goes on primetime and it ends with a rosary being prayed. I mean, I'm always down for the rosary, so at least I would be entertained. I don't know if he's going to let me do that.
Another thing that was funny about that article, not to go back to it, is they talk about how they say somebody says trans women are women. Jamila's crazy. Somebody goes,
it's also not about.
And then the next comment says this article has literally nothing to do with trans women. What the hell are you talking about? Like, you're talking to NPCs.
Yeah. The Last of My Kind said, missed a few episodes last week. Non-nicotine alternative to Zyn. It's called Grinds. It's just ground coffee in pouch form. Lots of flavors available.
I've seen those.
Well, thanks for the suggestion, but I'm not looking for a non-nicotine alternative to Zyns.
Okay.
So.
All right. Guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Thank you very much for doing that. Share the video with your friends. Get more people to join us for these live shows because it's a lot of fun. Mary, where can they find you?
You can give me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived or send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived. And make sure that you tune in to tomorrow night's episode of Alex Stein's show. I'm going to be there. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know anything. I'm a little scared. I just need your support.
Perfect. Guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Pop Culture Crisis is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We're right in the middle of your workday. Oh, we got another super chat there. John Stewart says, Brett, stop giving our secrets away. That's it. I forgot to let everyone not know that that is in fact the secret to being a straight white male. You just walk into places and they just give you things. It's great.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm also going to be on a show at Barstool Sports called Drinkin' Bros. I guess we're going to be day drinking and talking about the culture. So
that's Thursday.
Too. I don't know when that comes out because they might have a different upload schedule, but I'm going to be filming that on Wednesday.
Okay. All right, guys. Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to this podcast rather than watch, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Later.